Off to a good start. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Christmas show, the weekly narrative Christmas show. That's right. Look, this is a Christmas tree. You remember those? Do you guys have a Christmas tree? If you don't, you need to get one. Because traditions are important, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today, along with the rest of the stream topics here. We got a bunch of stuff lined up for you. Nothing too insane, nothing too critical. I mean, the news is kind of slow lately, so, just trickle in. Come on in, grab a seat, get a drink. We're going to get comfortable and talk about a few stories, talk about some Christmas stuff. We're going to talk about the escalation that we're seeing right now in the news by the left, by the White House in particular. We're going to talk about the mental illness on the right. And when I say on the right, I mean on the conservative side. Mental illness over there, exactly what's happening. We're going to be talking about, old society. What's happening, the kind of a post-mortem, if you will, on some things that are happening in the old society, and some funny stories, because it's going to be a little bit more lighthearted today. So let's investigate what's going on with the stream here, because I'm getting a message saying that we got a bitrate issue. And rolling that intro. Let's go. And we're also on stereo today, guys. We are live on stereo, so join stereo. Say what's up. Let's get into it. All right, I got some great news. Welcome back, by the way. Paul says it's good on YouTube. Thanks, Paul. What's up, Dari? Welcome in. Come on, guys. Grab a seat. Get comfortable. Let me know if you see any weird stuff going on with the YouTube side of the house, because everything should be tip-top. But not only do we have fancy new camera, I got a faster internet connection. I've got a Christmas tree behind me. I've got a bowling ball over here. I mean, what more could you ask for? And nothing. I mean, there's really nothing else I can do here for you guys. Let's talk about funny story. Started up today. Delaney is out. I don't know where she is. So we're rolling solo again today. And in case you were wondering, I figured I'd let you guys know there. We got a story from the Robert E. Lee Elementary School. Do you guys remember Robert E. Lee Elementary School? This is a school that everyone got upset because it was named Robert E. Lee Elementary School. This is back when we were caring about school names, when that was a hot thing in the news. It's not really a hot thing in the news anymore. But we've got a poll that came out from Time, or an article from Time about a poll to rename the school. And Time, and this school district in particular, are learning the hard way that you really, really shouldn't just ask the internet open-ended questions. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dari, for that. I'm glad it looks really good. Because the school district, the Austin Independent School District, Austin, of course, Austin, trash hole, they asked the community to fill out an online nomination forms to attempt to solicit new names for the Robert E. Lee Elementary School. And, we got some good recommendations here, and I think we got some contenders. So the top 10 nominations that came in from this openly internet poll that anybody could submit names to and vote on. We got the first name came out, Donald J. Trump Elementary School. Second place nominations, Robert E. Lee Elementary School. So rename it what it already was named. Third and fourth are not too noteworthy, but number 7 with 8 nominations, we've got Adolf Hitler School for Friendship and Tolerance. And, of course, there were other names suggested, including things like Bodie McBoatface Elementary School and Schoolie McSchoolface and the John Cena Elementary School. So, don't open polls up to the internet, because this is exactly what you can expect to have happen. They're going to get on there, and they're going to completely annihilate that poll. Yeah. So, I think some of the other names that were on here, I've got a screenshot from an actual local news page. And Texas District. Oh, wrong page here. The local news outlet was also got suggestions for Drew Brees Elementary, Bruce Lee Elementary, John Cena, and the Schoolie. Yeah, so the Schoolie McSchoolface, that's a play off of a previous open poll that happened where the internet actually suggested something was called Bodie McBoatface, like they were naming a boat, and they actually followed through and they called it Bodie McBoatface. So that's a little piece of internet culture there that a lot of people wouldn't probably understand. Second story here gives us an idea of what we are going to be looking at in the upcoming future with the Metaverse. Do you guys know what the Metaverse is? Metaverse is just a fancy word that's been rebranded to make it seem like it's something new, but in reality, it's just virtual reality. Okay, virtual reality has been existing for a long time, but we have to rebrand it to make it sound cool, get the kids into it, and give your brain kind of a fresh, clean slate in terms of your expectations of it. Because we think of VR previously, you hear the term VR and you think, yeah, it looks like garbage, it's low quality, the games in there suck, stuff like that. So it's a rebranded version of the VR. And not unsurprisingly, a woman who happened to be doing some VR stuff in the Metaverse says she was groped in the Metaverse by a fellow beta tester for a new platform called Horizon Worlds, adding that, quote, sexual harassment in VR is no joke. So this is where we're going, folks. Now, personally, and we were talking about this before the stream, actually, in the Telegram chat. I've been playing games for a long time. I've been on the internet since I was like 13, playing games. I've heard every single thing that you could possibly say. Every combination of words that exists, I've had it said to me. I've seen things in these games happen. I've been harassed, quote unquote, in these games. Imagine if she actually was able to get killed in the Metaverse. Like if it was kind of a gamified version of something where she could get attacked and killed. Oh my God, can you imagine? Just a grope. She's already complaining about that. But you can see where this is headed, right? If you have a generation or a population that's so pathetic and so soft that we're talking about the generation that considers, mean words on Twitter, cyberbullying, which isn't a real word. It's not really a real thing. It does describe a particular group of actions, but anything that you can simply walk away from or log out of or just block, it doesn't, this isn't a real thing. So, predictably, women are already complaining about getting groped in VR. Now, listen to how she describes this. They revealed the incident on December 1st, saying it occurred on November 26th. The woman, they're already framing it like it's a crime, like the incident occurred on December 1st. No, there's no crime, there's no incident here, folks. The woman had reported the assault on the Horizon Worlds beta testing Facebook group. Quote, sexual harassment is no joke on the regular internet, but being in VR adds another layer that makes the event more intense. She wrote, according to The Verge. How does that make it more intense? You're playing she's never played a video game in her life. We can already tell. Tell me that you've never played a video game without telling me that you've never played a video game. This is how you do it. She continues to say, quote, not only was I groped last night, but there were other people there who supported this behavior, which made me feel isolated in the plaza. The virtual environment's central gathering place. Severe encounters of online harassment, including physical threats, stalking, and repeated harassment, are on the rise, according to, that's all BS. According to a 2020 Pew Research poll, with the percentage of users reporting such incidents jumping from 15% in 2014 to 25% today. So is that really the number of incidents occurring, or is that the a definition of harassment expanding to include things that aren't actually harassment? That's a question. Let's see. Paul in the YouTube chat says, the 90s kids remember holographic sports cards and comic book cards. Hey, I still have a large Pokemon card collection that I've been hanging on to for a long time. It's actually worth quite a bit of money if I had the cards actually appraised. I did hear a stereo chat come in here. Let's jump over there, Paul.
Stuff like this, School McSchoolie Face, which is objectively the best suggestion because of the throwback to Bodie McBoatface. It's kind of a reminder that even in 2021, you have the very online world, and you have the the boomers, and that's a state of mind, not strictly. You don't have to be a boomer age person, and never shall the twain meet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, one of my closest friends is a guy that I met online. He's quite a bit older than me, so he's in that age group. But he is of the mindset. So it's not necessarily the particular age. We're not discriminating based on age. We're not being ageist here, folks. It's a mindset thing. It's well said, Paul. And the funny thing is about that too is, and this kind of goes with a lot of different things in life, is that if you aren't part of this early and you haven't had a lot of time in the market or time in the environments like online, like any environment, then you just won't have the ability to generate the same perspective that someone like me would. When I go to the metaverse, I would expect the second I put those goggles on, I expect to have guys jumping on me, trying to kill me, groping me, attacking me, doing like just finding ways to game the system in the metaverse. Like, say you could pick up a sandwich, you're like a Subway simulator. Okay, you're making Subway sandwiches or something. I don't know what kind of games are in VR these days. Personally, I haven't played one yet. I do want to buy one. If the games get good, I will definitely buy one. I'm just saying, the second I log in to Subway Sandwich Simulator or Farm Simulator even, I'm expecting people to harass me. If I don't get harassed, then I'm going to be shocked at that. Why? Now, why do I have this expectation? Because I have been in this environment for a long time. I understand what's going on historically, the nature of this. It's a war zone. Yes, exactly, Simple Jack. It doesn't matter what game you're playing. Even if you're literally playing Farm Simulator, someone's going to drive their tractor into your field and just start messing your field up. You're going to get harassed at every possible. It's the best way to test a system to find a way to harass somebody is just to make a video game out of it. Put it online. People will find every single little way to exploit it in order to harass other people. And she and the rest of society are now coming into this VR metaverse environment not knowing that. They don't know anything about video games or online worlds in general. And now we're going to have, how are they going to get control for this? Is Facebook going to place limits on how close you can get to other people in the metaverse so that I can't reach out my digital arm to grope the digital girls there so they don't get digital PTSD? You know what I'm saying? What are we really going to do about this? That got me thinking because, just like Twitter and everywhere else, every other digital platform, digital environment, they're going to try to put some controls on it. They can't listen and see female tears and not take action. It's literally their modus operandi. Their whole life revolves around seeing females crying and then taking action to correct the females crying. I mean, listen, the whole reason we are where we are today in society is because of females crying and weak men reacting to that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to fix this problem, but I'm going to bet that there's not really much you can do. If the VR and the metaverse is everything that it claims to be, the freedom and all that, you're not. Or maybe you get banned if you get too close to a woman and you do a certain gesture, and the algorithm detects a gesture that you're doing near somebody. She can just report you, and then you get banned, just like Twitter. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see, and it is certainly interesting to think about. Speaking of people who aren't fit to live in reality, I wanted to show you guys this picture of this person that I found on Twitter with the quote or the subtext, "The final boss." Okay, so this is somebody who we would consider the final boss of the pandemic, of the lockdowns, of the mania that surrounds modern society today, and it's so good that I can't even really tell if it's a parody or not. Okay, and now you guys give me your judgment on this. Let's see, which window am I on here? So here is the final boss, and she's wearing a mask. Not only a mask, she's wearing a face shield. She's got big bug eyes, tons of makeup caked on underneath everything. And triple masks, it looks like. By squinting, I can really tell. So this is some lady on Twitter with the handle Telefeminism, somebody who claims to be using data to track equity on TV, advocating for representation in media. All the buzzwords are there. Pronouns are in the bio. Everything. Okay, so this is who you share society with. This is probably 25-30% are this bad. Maybe if I had to just randomly guess off the top of my head, but she went on a plane flight, and she had to let everybody know on Twitter that she's going on a plane flight, but she's not effing around with Omicron, which, as we all know at this point, has, I think the data that just came out today says 2/3 less hospitalizations, 45% less chance of death, things like that. It's mild compared to Delta, but that doesn't stop the final boss of the pandemic mania. This Giga Karen here, Dana. She says she has 3 Pfizer vaccines, a negative rapid test, natural immunity, so she's had it before, N95 sealed to my face with surgical tape, a secondary mask for displaying opinions, because we all know that's just as important, because the second mask says vote on it, right? And face shield, vinyl gloves, touchscreen gloves, and a ton of Xanax, which is a pharmaceutical also provided, I think, by Pfizer for easing severe anxiety. What a shocker. So this is an anxiety-riddled, overweight, leftist, feminist woman, and this is who we're pandering to at this point. It's in the old society. If you are advocating for staying in the old society, fixing the old society, this is who you are arguing that you should coexist with. People like this, Dana, the Giga Karen, on the COVID flight with piles of Xanax and 5 masks and whatnot. Okay, so just keep that in mind, guys, that if you really, even if this whole thing turns around, if we unlock society and we get back to normal operations to some degree, she's not going away. She still gets to vote. Her vote counts just as much as yours does. That's my favorite saying lately, is pointing out really stupid or retarded people, and then pointing out the fact that their vote counts just as much as yours. Now, you may spend thousands of hours a month. I don't even think there are 1,000 hours in the month, but you could spend 1,000 hours a month researching law and policies and data and statistics to find the best answers to everything in society. You come to the best conclusions as to what the country needs for policies, and you found the candidate to vote in that you know is going to fix everything. Well, Giga Karen here, she's on a ton of Xanax, probably alcoholic too, and her vote counts just as much as yours, and she's done no research, but she has listened to a lot of people on Twitter, so in her eyes, that counts just as much. The vintage glasses is a tell. Good point. Yeah, Commander Osis. The vintage glasses is a feminist tell. It's kind of like a rejection of modern beauty standards to kind of say, hey, this is my signal that I'm rejecting what you think is beautiful. Dari says it's all anti-establishment BS. So why is it okay that women are willing to allow men to control them in sports, e.g. trans swimmer in Massachusetts? So the trans swimmer thing, that is simply a case of reality and their expectations and their emotions. Remember we talked about the reality and the two worlds thing? So they have their reality over here. The real reality is over here. The trans swimmer is right where that stuff connects. That is the intersection of their fake reality and reality. So they have yet to figure out how to cope with that, because all their emotions are telling them that they need trans swimmers dominating them left and right, and that they should never ever win any Olympic medals or any sports events ever again because the trans women are all going to win it for them. Half their brain is telling them that, but the other half is thinking, we're losing a lot. This is not good. And that's exactly what they say. Actually, so about that swimmer, I think the rest of the team came out and said, we support it openly, but in the shadows, we're all like, this is not cool. But the coach says what? The coach says, we're winning all the time, though. So there you go. So Daria, we can't answer your question yet because they have not yet reconciled the intersection of their fake reality with actual reality. And we're watching the collision happen in real time, which is actually entertaining. I can't wait to see how that turns out. Similar to, Omicron not being deadly, but you got people like this who are she's dressed up and prepared as if this is Ebola, as if she's getting on the plane flight with somebody who has Ebola. This is Omicron, which is, if you haven't looked at the data, the number one symptom from the UK data is a runny nose. So this is a cold at best. I swear you were British. Well, my ancestry is from Britain, yeah. Great Britain. Technically, I am British, but or half British anyway, and then half Swedish. It's an interesting mind f for women's sports. Yep, nope. That is the precipice right there. That is the precipice that we are witnessing in society is the women's sports, because the rest of it can remain in an ethereal, idealized, world where they can have the theory of trans women this, trans women that. But where it intersects with reality in an undeniable way is the sports stuff. So I can't wait to see how that turns out. We got Paul and then Worm.
I'm gonna get sort of philosophical here. These people who jump online and, yeah, as you say, they get agreed by the fact that the second you get on there, you're being assaulted, whatever. It's games in general, the internet in general are non-hierarchical. I hate that word. It's pure, dog eat dog, Darwinian, however you want to put it. You could even say anarchic. And I want to say that it says a lot when, it's the feminists, the people who have pearls of clutch. They are the ones so aggrieved, not because per se that they're the first ones to be shot and eaten, all that stuff, groped. I think it's also true. They implicitly understand the privilege they have in the real world, which they don't acknowledge, is absolute.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. So there's no social reinforcement of the privilege that they have in the digital world, because they're so used to in the real world getting pandered to, having guys compliment them, having doors open for them, getting higher rates of jobs, higher education, all these bonuses that women enjoy as part of a gynocentric society. That goes away in the gaming world. Is that kind of what you're saying? Because I'd agree with that. And once they get in there, especially this would be interesting too. You could even put them in there as a gender neutral thing. They don't have to. You don't have to be a woman in the game, right? So even if if it was a woman that came in as a male character, they would still get harassed. Let's see. Yeah. PJ Fan says 2 Democrat politicians were carjacked at gunpoint. Things are looking up. Hey, well, there you go. Again, intersection of reality with their idealism. Okay. Oh yeah, no welfare state. Bring in all the illegal immigrants. Loan forgiveness. All these stuff. And then here's reality where you get carjacked in the middle of the street. You can't do all that without some consequences there. We got a guy named Worm in chat here. Let's see what he's got.
I came in and I read that as Antichrist podcast. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I was like, oh, anti-centrist. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know what the fuck that means. Hoping you can fill me in. It's your boy, Vermilion.
Vermilion, what's up, man? Welcome. Alt-centrism, not anti-centrism, is it's basically a fancy word for objective observer. It's not necessarily a political philosophy. It's a life philosophy, where we try to look at everything from an objective standpoint, as if we were aliens coming down from another planet, seeing these things for the first time without any predispositions to these. So that's how we look at these ideas and the cultural events that are happening in the world from an objective observer standpoint. And there's a lot more philosophy to the alt-centrism stuff, but in a nutshell, from the lens that we're looking at, that's what it is. Here's Ken.
It's weird to see these people push themselves so far into a corner to the point where they have to see the results, but they can't acknowledge them because they haven't given themselves any room to step backwards. Like, there's never going to be room enough to say, you know what, we may have gotten this wrong, because they spent so much time signaling outwardly that it is 100% correct, and to, even think about it as possibly being, I don't want to say incorrect, but, something that is up for debate or discussion, or, even be seen through a separate lens is just, asinine, and you're a fucking bigot and all that cool shit. Excuse
Yep.
my language. So, I don't know, man. It's one of those situations where it's like you're watching it break down, you sit back and you're like, dang, we kind of said this was going to happen at some point, but it's weird to see the house of cards fall.
Yeah, we're living in it, dude. We're living in, basically the fall of Rome. We're seeing it live right before our very eyes, but on a bigger scale because we are better than Rome was. We have more technology, more wealth, more innovation, all of that. So it's going to be a bigger fall. But it's, I think the best way to describe it, it's almost like a black hole, right? Because with the black hole, you have an event horizon. Once you pass that event horizon, there is no escape from getting sucked in all the way. And these people put themselves in a mental black hole where they've been conditioned so strongly to comply with every single aspect of the monolith that of the cathedral, if you will, or the citadel, and that's my term for it. But they have to have every opinion exactly on point. They can't deviate at all. And with that comes it's not conviction. Let's make sure and understand that what we're seeing is not conviction in these ideas. It's fear of being exiled. It's fear of being an apostate. There is no conviction. It's 100% fear, and we have to keep that in mind. These people understand that once they're past the event horizon, if they say one wrong thing, well, it's apostasy for them. They're kicked out, and that's exile. It's akin to exile, and we're programmed as humans to not want exile because tribes kick us out. That basically means we're gonna die. Let's see. All the people who voted for Biden are saying, we may have gotten this wrong. Yeah, maybe, Dari, maybe. A lot of them are. I mean, if you're on their third shot and you're getting told to get a fifth booster, otherwise you can't go to Subway and get a tuna melt, then you might be questioning your decision. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next segment of when we're talking about escalation, because there has been some escalations in the last week or so since we've done the last stream regarding COVID in particular. Let's go back to Vermilion.
All right, thank you for sharing that with me. And it's amazing how many times I could misread that title. I apologize. So alt-centric.
All good.
Do you think it's possible for anyone to truly be objective?
No, it's not. It's not possible for anybody to be truly objective, which is why it's kind of like people don't understand the mind is like a muscle. You can't just walk up to a 450 pounds loaded on a barbell, and expect to lift it up with a deadlift. You have to deadlift for a long time before you can lift that bar of 450 pounds for the first time. Same thing with the brain. We can approach asymptotically, which is a math term for like a parabola that never actually hits the vertical line axis, but it gets really, really close. We can get like 90% of the way there, okay? We can get like 95% of the way to objective observation, but it requires exercise of the mind. So we have to force ourselves to look at opinions that we agree with in an objective manner, which we do here all the time. I'm actually going to have a segment later on in the show about how people on the right wing, who I'm generally associated with just because I don't have all the cathedral's opinions, we're going to be looking at some of the ways that the right wing is, failing to look at themselves objectively, where I will criticize all sides, and we have to at least try. That's the point. We have to try. We'll never get 100%. We can get 90, 95%. And he's got a follow-up here.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned cathedrals. As you can tell, I'm American. I live in Southern California. And near where I live, we have, I think it's like the 6th largest building on Earth. You can see this thing as you come on into town. It's fucking massive. It's like a cathedral. I've been likening it to a cathedral. It's a giant hangar for Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, where they create death weapons and space shuttles. It's our modern cathedral.
There you go. Cathedrals of old produce culture. They produce, families, traditions. Cathedrals of the new produce death, destruction, and chaos. Let's see. PJ fan Juicy Smollett had a flashback when you said Subway and tuna melt. Did Juicy get sentenced, by the way? What's the deal with Juicy getting sentenced? I need to know what the guy's getting. Is he getting like a couple of years in jail? Does anybody know? Somebody hit me up in the chat. Let me know what happened with Juicy. I haven't seen any updates on old Juicy. Okay, so we're talking about escalations, right? There's been a few that have been happening. Well, actually quite a lot. And the most blatant one, which, although it is an escalation of rhetoric, I think it's actually a good sign. So we'll get into that later on. But first I want to talk about exactly what it is we're talking about. And that sentence didn't really make much sense. We're talking about the White House COVID-19 response team and the public health officials press briefing from December 17th, wherein the White House, the president directly said, let me do a Control F to search for this real quick. The White House said directly that this winter, the unvaccinated are going to face a winter of death and illness for you and your families. For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm. That's a word-for-word quote from the White House press briefing. That seems like an escalation to me. Now, there's a lot of things they could have said. This is part of a longer document, so it's not like I'm trying to cherry pick this one section out of the article. They tell you to get vaccinated, get the booster, stuff like that. But I think, this is the same party that told us they want unity, right? They're running on unity, if they want to unite the country, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't really seen any indications of an attempts at unity. Now, if I were the White House, and I actually wanted to give some words of positivity to get the holiday spirit going, yeah, exactly, Joe Biden words of positivity, I would say something more along the lines of, for the unvaccinated, know that there are several options for both prevention and early treatment in case you were to get COVID. We respect your freedom to choose not to get COVID vaccines, but we have made the antibodies available in all 50 states easily at any hospital. You can go to them, you can get the antibodies, you can go get various other treatments, and we'll make sure to treat you early in case you... No. Nothing like that, right? So there were so many paths I could have taken with this to say, make sure you go out and get some sun in the winter, or make sure you get some exercise. Try to stay healthy. Don't eat so much junk food. Like, make it a joke. Haha, it's a holiday season. We're all going to get fat, but maybe don't eat so much because, again, you're going to have a higher risk factor for COVID. Nothing even in the neighborhood of what would be considered a rational, positive, unifying message that allows for freedom. Notice, the statement doesn't even allow for freedom at all. It's as if this was written in a country where it's assumed that you don't have freedom to choose. And that's why it's an escalation. Because we don't joke. We kind of talk about the fact that the government is holding a gun to your head. And now they're literally saying that if you don't get the vaccine, you're going to die. Not only are you going to die, your families are going to die, and you're looking at a winter of severe illness. So I consider that an escalation, but here's why I don't think it's that serious. Because the people that write these at the White House, who writes these? Does anybody know? Who writes these press briefings at the White House? It's not Joe Biden, obviously. The dude can't even... He doesn't... I mean, the last time he wrote anything, it was on a typewriter. This is written by young, college-educated, college-brainwashed, overly emotional, hyper-feminized, or sometimes hyper-masculinized women. This is emotionally charged language. That's it's clearly written by a woman, and it's meant to be received by a brain that is feminized because, oh my God, a winter of severe illness and death for myself and my families. And literally the next sentence is, the message is clear. There is action you can take to protect yourself and your families. So the frame that's being set up with this statement is that you are in danger. In order to protect yourself from the danger, to protect yourself from the harm, get vaccinated, do this, do what we tell you. And that right there, that exact frame of you're in harm, this is how you prevent harm, that's literally the main psychological driver of the feminine psychology, is harm reduction. Okay? So this is written by just some amateur women that clearly don't take into account the fact that 50% of the people they're communicating with are men that actually do have some testosterone. This doesn't really resonate with us so much. It doesn't really resonate with anyone who has healthy levels of testosterone. So that's why I'm not too upset, because this displays a large degree of incompetence. Okay? It's an escalation of rhetoric, but it's a large signifier of incompetence as well, because this is amateur stuff. You can't just come out and say you're gonna die. You're gonna be really sick and you're gonna die. Like they have foregone all the subtleties of the communicative, messaging that they should be following to subtly convince you, subtly persuade you to do this or do that or whatever. They have all the subtleties are out the window. No skill, nothing at all, just straight up coming out and saying, if you don't buy my product, you're going to die. If you heard that in a commercial, would you take it seriously? If you don't buy my new car, you're going to die. No, because we all know that death is, the greatest fear that you could instill in somebody. And obviously you like to sell products using fear. One of the main drivers anyway. And this is something that, like a seventh grader would write in a 101 marketing class. If you don't buy my product, you're going to die. Rookie. It's rookie. It's amateurish. It's rookie. That's why I am not too concerned. Let's go to Paul in stereo here.
No, Jeremy. No. Joe Biden didn't last write something on a typewriter. He hasn't written shit ever. He stole shit. He was dropped out of the 1988 presidential administration in disgrace for plagiarism. He ain't written shit.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point. The dude has never written anything at all in his whole life. And in the YouTube chat here, he also says, all the best speechwriters are men because men and women both gravitate towards strong words from an alpha male. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. I understand the psychology behind it, and I would definitely agree with that, because you can tell from a guy's perspective. Ladies, I know we have some lady followers. Actually, my ratio of men to women followers is pretty good. Okay, it's not like a 90-10. That's more like a 85-15. But anyway, ladies, we can tell. Okay, this stuff, it stands out like a sore thumb. We know when it's you writing this, and it's low caliber. That's all I'm saying. They control big pharma, so a new variant gives them time to move their investments when needed. Well, Dari, that's a great point. And you guys should remember at least, because I've mentioned it many times, but what did I say about the variants? I've said about the variants what? They've always got a variant in the back pocket for any situation. It's really, it's how you move things forward now in this paradigm. The new pandemic paradigm of modern 21st century reality. The way you get things done now, it's not through voting. Name the biggest thing that's happened from somebody who got into office and made a significant change to your life. How has your life changed via voting significantly in the last 8 years? I can hardly think of any way that mine has, aside from maybe paying more or less for gas. But if you really want to get something done, if you want to lock people out of gyms, if you want to prevent them from going out to restaurants, well, then you just pull a variant out of your back pocket. That's how we do stuff now in the West. We pull a variant out and we say, slam it down. We say, all right, we're going to lock down this. We're going to do whatever, and, well, you know what? Why don't we just go right over to Lori Lightfoot from Chicago and have her tell us exactly what it is that she's going to do to us if we don't get the vaccine, because this is another semi-escalation. So let me go to the super chat, or the stereo chat first here.
Variant, a.k.a. New Lab Leak. Who dis?
New Lab Leak. Who dis? Exactly. Lori Lightfoot had a little Twitter thread. Lori Lightfoot is the mayor of Chicago. Arguably, the trashiest trash hole on American soil. And I'm using family-friendly words here because it's Christmas, guys. We got to preserve the Christmas spirit here. There could be some some wholesome families, living rooms full of families watching me right now across the country and the nation, the world. So we're keeping family friendly. This is from Loyal Life, but we didn't want it to get to this point. But given the situation we find ourselves in, we have no choice. Beginning January 3rd, you must show proof that you're fully vaxxed to enter bars, restaurants, fitness centers, and entertainment/recreational venues where food and drink are served. Okay, all right. So she goes on. So now she's attempting to rationalize these new controls here. So hospitalizations in the city are at their highest since our surge last winter. Okay, so let's analyze that statement right there real quick. Hospitalizations in the city are at their highest since our surge last winter. What happens on a seasonal basis every single winter regarding health and the public health systems in America? Let me rub my 3.5 brain cells together and realize that every single winter there is a surge in cases and hospitalizations because that's when people get sick with seasonal flu, colds, etc., etc. So immediately, the first sentence, I'm not buying into it. This is obviously, this is subterranean IQ that we're dealing with right now. We got to get at least surface level before I'm even interested in what she's saying. So let's go to the next sentence. Second sentence here. Deaths are at a higher rate than we have seen in months. All right, let's evaluate the value of that statement. Deaths are at a higher rate than we've seen in months. Yeah, because the curve has been essentially flattened, and now the curve is going slightly up. If there's one death a month on average for the last months, and now we have 2, that's a higher rate. So you're not telling me anything that's really useful here. I need to see real numbers. I need to see percentages. And even percentages aren't even really good. They can be easily manipulated. And she says, on top of this, we can expect a post-holiday surge in cases. We can expect a post-holiday surge. Wait, now, why do we expect a post-holiday surge in cases? It can't be because there's a seasonal flu and illness that just happens to go around every single year anyway, is it? But then that would kind of invalidate your first point. So you can see there wasn't much thought really put into this. She continues on to say, the order will remain in effect until the city deems that the threat of COVID-19 to public health has diminished significantly. That's important. We'll come back to that. But this is how she wraps it up. She says, to put it simply, if you have been living vaccine-free, your time is up. If you wish to live life as with the ease to do the things you love, you must be vaxxed. This health order may pose an inconvenience to the unvaccinated, and it in fact is inconvenient by design. Okay, well, we understand that. You've been doing that since day one. But there's something missing. Now, this is a test for you class, okay? Get your notes out. Tell me they provided a outline, if you will, of their plan, right? But the plan is missing one key thing. And let me know if you can. Yeah, no, it's hard to read. That was really difficult to read, Paul. Let me know if you can tell me, point out what it is that this whole thing is missing. So they're telling us that it's going to remain in effect until the city deems the threat has diminished significantly. What are they missing? We talked about it before. It's the key thing that has been consistent across every single step in the perpetual escalation that has been the pandemic and our reaction to it. The perpetual escalation is dependent on this one single thing that has never reared its head at any point in time, and it is also absent here. What is it? Let me go to the stereo chat here, and we'll give you guys a chance to answer.
Yo, what is up with this? I thought Captain Clorox was going to disinfect the world, and we were all going to go back to normal. She did that press conference. She was flexing and talking and telling us how fucking great she was, and we're still here. What is she doing? I thought undead characters by Michael Keaton could get things done. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, I know, right?
I want sandworms, not Dune sandworms, Beetlejuice sandworms.
No.
Although Dune sandworms would suffice as well. This is just, I'm so disappointed. The clown world is not living up to expectations.
Yeah, I agree. She was. I mean, you dance around on stage in an outfit like that, you want to have some outcomes, right? So she's gonna have to get the Captain Clorox outfit on again, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to see that. Come on now. What's up, Holly? Welcome to the chat. It's okay. You were doing holiday stuff. I'm assuming that pretty much everybody's doing holiday stuff, and honestly, I'd prefer you guys be doing holiday stuff than watching me. But for those who don't have any holiday stuff to do, we have our own little holiday gathering right here. So come on in, grab a drink, get some eggnog or whatever it might be, and get comfortable. Okay, so we got an answer here from Paul in the chat. He says ICU beds. Actually, you're correct, but not directly. So they did the same thing with ICU beds. And the thing that this is missing, the Lori Lightfoot and all these other escalations that we're seeing in terms of you're going to have a bad winter if you don't do this, or our hospitals are overrun, we're going to lock down until X time. It's missing a target. There is no target. If this said, now, you know that why they can't put a target in there, right? Because we might actually reach a target. And that would be the worst possible thing that we could do. We don't want to actually fix the problem. We want to nurture the problem. We have a field of COVID problems that we need to water and harvest and then keep replanting. And this is exactly what is happening here. The order will remain in effect until the city deems that the threat of COVID-19 to public health has diminished significantly. What the hell does that even mean? That means, basically, she just said, whenever I want. Whenever we want, we're going to return. We're going to give you back your freedoms whenever we want. And that is how, maybe that's a symptom of the hyper-feminized mindset that lives in a subjective world. Everything is subjective in, the females' brains. They just think that, at a certain point in time, they can say, yeah, we're done. But they will never do that. Obviously, you can tell by the perpetually escalating measures that we've been stuck in for 2 years that there is no target, there is no goal, there is no intention to meet goals and actually overcome this. So yeah, Schrodinger's goalposts. Nice, I like that one. Yeah, I want to coin that. Schrodinger's goalposts. Do they even exist? What's up, Miklo Chicano? Welcome to the chat. Hope your shortbread's good, Holly. Oh, thank you on the studio. Yeah, we're building up the studio. I'm gonna have a little bit of announcement on that later. Okay, so this is what you guys need to look for in all these things where they're talking about this. We're gonna lock down until here. We're gonna close down 14 days, slow the spread. The tell is a goal. It's a hard goal. Our hospitals are going to be. We need to have 80% ICU capacity, and then we're free. Things like that. If you don't have that, it's a scam. You're getting scammed. Okay, so keep an eye on that. That is the one thing that has been missing since day one, and something tells me we're not going to see this at all. But can we also talk about the hilarity of banning access to indoor fitness and gyms? Because people actually want to protect themselves against this. They would go to a gym, and actually, funny story, I decentralized my fitness today, guys. Okay, I talk about decentralizing everything in your life. Here's an example of how you can decentralize your fitness, because I've moved recently. Obviously, you can tell this is a new studio. I'm looking for a gym. I can't find one. 24-hour fitness is open 16 hours a day. How does that work? And I need somewhere to work out. I couldn't find one, so I bought a gigantic home gym. So just to give you guys an example, because I get asked a lot, what do you mean, how can I decentralize my life? Guy, I don't have 1,000 acres that I can move off to live. Well, this is a perfect example. You can simply reduce your necessity to participate in the rest of society. So now I don't ever have to leave my house for the gym again. Okay, I got, well, not this one, but I got something like this, right? I'm not going to the gym ever again. And I'm going to get jacked and fit in my own house, and there's nothing society can do to stop me, because it looks like, when you look at things like Lori Lightfoot, and what they're doing in all these states and these cities, they don't want you to go to the gym. They don't want you to get jacked. They want you to be unhealthy. They want you to be sick. Again, they're managing crops, okay? They don't want the crops to go away. You are the crop, by the way. So just keep that in mind. Everything is scary if you don't have any faith in your own abilities. Yeah, that's a good point too, Holly. You missed it. We talked about the COVID final boss, Karen, who goes on plane flights with 8 masks and handfuls of Xanax and face shields and 4 boosters. And that's actually a really good take because she has zero confidence in her own ability to handle COVID or her body's ability to fight off COVID, potentially, something along those lines. Treadmill missing. Yeah, I'm getting a treadmill. I haven't decided if I'm getting a treadmill or a bike. I think I want to get a bike with like a desk on it so that I can do work and laptop stuff while I'm on the bike. Yeah, a Decepticon. Yeah, it doesn't look. Well, I got to get the Decepticon to protect against Omicron. That's how it works. Okay, the Osis is saying my mic is terrible. Mic check. Mic check. Check. Is it too loud? Let me. It might be a little bit too loud. I might have been redlining there. Turn your volume up a little bit. I lowered mine. There we go. Okay, continuing on. We got, so you can tell, guys, that the coronavirus stuff, the narrative, it's escalating. They're mad. They're really mad that you're not taking the vaccine. It's been a year. And we have yet to hear from any health officials anywhere that you can do things that aren't the vaccine to protect yourself against COVID. And that is the biggest tell, that they actually do want you to die. They really, truly do want you to die. Not a single peep from any health official about losing weight, vitamin D, exercise, reducing your comorbidities, nothing. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, I was redlining on the mic a little bit. We should be good now. Man, you guys endured 50 minutes of me redlining on the mic? Jeez. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go to... We got any stereos here? No, let's go to the next story of the night, which is... mental illness on the right. So we had a caller ask us a question about objectivity, and can we be objective? The answer is no, we can't be truly objective, but we have to... One of the best ways to become objective is to call out people that you would consider to be on your own side. You need to call out bad ideas, and you need to avoid, at all possible opportunities, the appearance that you are simply agreeing with everyone else around you for the sake of agreeing. And I see a lot of stuff like this on Twitter. Now, this is a Twitter post. I don't even know who this is, but her name is Queen of Liberty. So she is like a libertarian type person, clearly. And she posted a screenshot from ABC News live stream. She actually posted a screenshot of somebody else on Instagram. So this is like a double fake news type situation here. Anyway, we got a video of President Biden giving a speech, and she circled the likes on the video because that has 508,000 likes, but there's only 5.4 thousand people watching the live stream. So obviously, something seems to be going on here, right? If Joe Biden's doing a live stream, and now we know this is here's the setup. We know in the past that number one, YouTube disabled the dislike button simply because Joe Biden videos in particular, were getting downvoted to hell because nobody likes Joe Biden, the least popular president in history. And that's why they removed the dislike button. So there is a precedent for thinking that the likes would be manipulated on a YouTube post. Now, here's what she said. She says, 5,000 people watching, 500,000 likes. They did away with consensus and inflated his numbers worse than he inflated the dollar. Nothing is real. This is 1984. Okay, so I got to be honest with you guys. The 1984 references are getting a little out of hand here. We're throwing that around just kind of like the left does, the Nazi stuff. We all get it. We get the 1984 stuff. It's there. We understand it's happening. We don't have to claim that everything is 1984. Now, what would explain why this has 508,000 likes but 5.4 thousand people watching? For me, it was obvious. I knew exactly what was going on because, first of all, The title of the YouTube video that we're looking at here is Live Latest News Headlines and Events. And the reason it had 508,000 likes is because this is a live stream that had been going for several hours. It's basically ABC News Live on YouTube. Okay, so it's a TV channel that's been live for a long time. Thousands and thousands of people have come on at certain points in time to like it, dislike it, whatnot. But at this particular instance, at this slice in time, there's only 5.4 thousand people watching. Now, people on the right, they see this and they think, well, I know they removed the like button because Joe Biden was getting disliked. I know they've messed with the numbers. I know they manipulate all this stuff. So obviously, this is cut case of them, YouTube manipulating the numbers to make Joe Biden look good. That's where your brain immediately goes if you're on the right. And you have to stop, even if that is exactly what it looks like you're looking at, you need to stop and evaluate the conclusion that you've come to, because this is not what's happened here. Now, she made herself look stupid by posting this. Oh, nothing is real. This is 1984. Oh, he's got 500,000 likes. It's a live stream. It's been live streaming for a long time. That's why it has likes. But you see this, and you immediately just spiral and start saying, nothing is real. This is 1984. Guys, we got to call this kind of stuff out. I don't want to be associated with this. This is irrationality. I would argue this is mental illness. You're looking for things the same way the left looks for racism, the same way the left looks for transphobia. Everywhere they look, they see racism, they see transphobia, they see whatever. Now, people on the right, it's the same exact thing, but everywhere they look, oh, nothing is real. Oh, 1984, that's 1984. You got to chill, okay? Now, I can't take her seriously anymore because I know that she, as a person, is going to exaggerate everything that she sees because she has an image in her mind of what she thinks is happening. And reality is bouncing off of that before her brain can actually truly process it. We don't want to associate with these types of people, guys. Now, we can attempt to correct this. We can tell her, you need to tone it down. You need to evaluate your own conclusions before you post something on Twitter. I've had so many Twitter posts where I was typing it up and I thought, do I really know this is the case? And I looked into it and then I don't tweet because it's not real. You know how many stories that I want to cover on this stream that I've had in my notes or I had liked on my Twitter stream that I was going to talk about, and then I start doing 10 minutes of research and I'm like, oh, yeah, nope, that's not what I thought it was. I'm not going to do this. I can't talk about this. This isn't what I thought it was. We have to be at that level. You don't want to be on this side being mentally ill, thinking, oh, 1984, everywhere. And you don't want to be on this side thinking, oh, racism, oh, everywhere. Look, you can't, neither of those is healthy. Neither of those is a real human being. You have to, at all times, evaluate your own conclusions that you're coming to. So this is how we, as objective observers, exercise our brains, because we see this. And now, hopefully you guys, after me telling you about this, are going to be a little bit more aware of maybe screenshots that you share, pictures that you share, stories that you share, things like that. And together, we can work towards a better society where we're not mentally ill on the right and we're not mentally ill on the left. Now, this is just one example. I see stuff like this all the time on Twitter from people on the right who sometimes people that I respect do stuff like this. And then I do lose a little bit of respect because when I see that, I can tell this person is not using their brain. They're not thinking independently. They're not thinking critically. They have some version of reality that they think exists, that they want to exist. That's the key part. She wants 1984 to exist. She wants nothing to be real. And I don't even think she realizes that. Now, again, this was a female, so we all know that, she's probably more likely to be overly emotional about these kinds of things just because she's a female. But this has 7,000 likes and 1,500 retweets. Guys, just stop it. Get some help. Okay, Michael Jordan meme. Insert the Michael Jordan meme here. But leftist gaslighting is real. Probably. I don't even know what gaslighting means anymore. Everyone says gaslighting every other word these days. I don't even know if they know they're using it right. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, MA? Welcome to the chat. You know why they did away with the dislike button? Yeah, of course. Okay. So I heard a stereo come in. Let's jump over to that. What's up, Mitch? We got the whole crew here tonight. Paul.
Just to be objective, it's bombastic to say they just want you to die. I love saying that. They want you dead and they think it's funny. And
Yeah.
I think for some it's true, but for the majority of them, the establishment, the Citadel, Cathedral, etc., they simply are in a position where they have to do two things simultaneously: demonstrate that they care and demonstrate that they're effective. The fact that people aren't taking it pretty much violates both, and that's why they're so angry. It's like, oh, these people don't recognize like we help, and
Yeah.
to the extent that the virus is moderating over time, also shows that like, well, we're not helping.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. I don't actually mean that they want us dead. I kind of say that as a meme, but again, to kind of memify the people on the right who say that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's almost as if they're like, it's like a helicopter parents, right? When you reject their help, are they happy about it? No, they're not. They're really upset when you don't wear the helmet, right? When you don't wear the knee pads or whatever it is. This is the same kind of thing. It should be, because they're hyper feminized. It should be more of like a motherly instinct where they're trying to help you, protect you, and then you're not accepting it. So I would agree with that. Yeah, in general, I think. Thank you, Ma, for the tree compliment. All right, let's see what we got here. What's up next on the docket? Christmas. Fact checkers. We got to talk about fact checkers. I'm seeing a lot more stuff relating to fact checkers lately. I'm not reading the fact checks because there's really no point. But I was thinking about this, as you should be as well. You should be thinking about these things, not just consuming. You should be also producing, creating. Think of yourself as primarily a producer, a builder, right? And part of being a builder or producer is thinking and not just consuming stories. You have to delineate between consuming stories and thinking about these things. Alone in a dark room, on a walk, while you're working out, whatever it is. Everyone should be thinking about this stuff. I was thinking about fact checking, and I came to the realization, as if I was able to kind of teleport forward in time and look back and see the conditioning, that the fact checking in and of itself, and this is why people aren't seeing this, the fact checking in and of itself is what people think is the purpose of fact checking. They think that fact checkers exist to correct misinformation, which is, of course, at face value, it seems like that's what's happening. It seems like that's why they exist. Like, oh, Trump said something bad. Let me go to the fact checkers to tell me what the real truth is. I don't think that's what's actually going on here. The fact checkers have been introduced intentionally in society as a societal tool to condition us and open our brains up to the idea of looking to a non-legal, non-judicial, non-governmental even a system of judgment that is operating independently of the government, operating independently of schools, operating independently, period. Where eventually, we can get judged in a way that is going to take into account other factors outside the legal system. Now, where would this come in handy? Where could we possibly, in the Western society, the way that it's heading right now, where could we possibly have utility for a system of judgment that is judging people based off of things that aren't legal? Well, think about it. You've got COVID passports. You've got centralized wallets coming in place that are going to be linked with your personal information, your health information, your finances, your job history. Everything about you is going to be linked together in a social credit system. Now, would a social credit system use the judicial system for judgment? No, not really. It's not illegal. There's not a law that says your social credit must be this, and then if not, you have to do this. No, it's opening us up to potentially another branch of the government that doesn't actually exist right now, or pseudo branch of the government, wherein you will be judged we're all being conditioned right now to look to these entities for the truth, for judgment on a particular idea or something that somebody said. And we all know we're going towards a social credit system. We already largely have one, but what's going to enforce that? That's the question. That's a missing piece. Now think about this: the same people who are crying for implementing a social credit system are crying to abolish the police. Okay, that's a little interesting. So how does that work? If there's no police to enforce what you were trying to implement as a social credit system, then how are people going to be judged and punished based off this new social credit system? Well, I can't tell you. I mean, this is like the primordial slime version of whatever it is to come, but that's what fact checking is. It's conditioning your brain to respect some figure of authority that did not earn any of that authority and exists simply to enforce the ideas of the cathedral or the status quo, the mainstream, whatever. That's what fact checking is, guys. Okay, so whether or not you shouldn't be arguing about whether or not fact checking is good or bad or should exist or isn't. We can have fact checkers. That's fine. As objective, he said this isn't actually true. Now, what happens is we have fact checkers like guys like David Pakman who will say things like, Trump said that the weather was phenomenal today. Well, actually, we looked up the almanac, and the weather was 1 degree below average for this decade. So that's a lie. The weather was not phenomenal. That's kind of the realm that fact checking is getting into these days. And that is not what fact-checking should be. So I'm just saying, fact-checking as an entity that looks at facts, not too bad. Fact-checking as a subjective thing that only enforces one view, we can tell that you're doing that for another reason. And we think, or at least I think, that you're just conditioning us for setting us up to look at external systems of judgment outside of the judicial system. I don't know why that was so hard to say. What are the consequences for false facts? Well, 10 points off your social credit score. Same consequences as if you want to do a, credit lookup on a new loan or whatever it is. Just ding ya. And then next time you go to get a hospital treatment, your social credit score isn't high enough, so you get, we know you came into the emergency room first, but your social credit score is not that good. So this guy came in, and he also has 8 boosters, so we're going to treat him first. Now, does that sound too far-fetched? We already have half the population advocating for selective healthcare based on political decisions. Let's not dance around the bush here. They want selective healthcare based on political decisions. So that's already mainstream for half the country, or almost half. Within the span of 2 years, that has become a nearly mainstream idea. So is it really far-fetched to think that we're going to have a system that triages care? Triage takes a whole new meaning because part of the triage process in hospitals is going to include looking at your credit score. So, yeah, there's got to be a judge for those things. And I think that the fact checkers is conditioning us to look at judgment from a new independent judging entity. Abolish the police means we want to be the police. There you go. Exactly. That's exactly right. Our social credit system is categorically worse than China's because it is decentralized and opaque. The rules constantly shift when they are even known at all. Yeah? Yep, that's it. It'd be a different story if it was an open system and we could see exactly what's going on, but we can't. And I'm not advocating for a social credit system at all. I'm just saying that, there's differing severities of social credit systems that we could implement. And obviously, I think you're correct. When you have an idea that comes into society and sweeps so fast and so hard, such as preventing people from the wrong political opinions getting healthcare, then how do you keep up? How do you know what the criteria is for getting a good social credit score? I don't know. Well, there you go. We got a Chinese bot in the chat right there. Maybe if you go to that URL, it'll tell us. No, I'm kidding. Don't go to the URL. So that's my little spiel on fact checkers. I just want to share that with you guys because they're coming out. The fact checkers are coming out left and right. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about Christmas. And I don't have any notes for this. I don't have any notes for any stuff I talk about, but I just wanted to talk about the importance of traditions. And I think there's a lot of people, this is why I want to talk about this. I think there's a lot of people, maybe you included, who are coming into or being exposed to ideas of conservatism. Maybe you're seeing this medical tyranny happening, things like that, and you're looking around for a better alternative, or you've been exposed to conservative ideas for the past 2 years, et cetera, and you're not necessarily coming from like a conservative background. You're not coming from a Christian background. I know I have a lot of friends, actually, who see the vaccine stuff happening, and they're like, no, I'm not, this is not good. Now, they weren't highly political before, but they're getting into it, and they don't have strong traditions of, Christmas, Christianity, things like that. Thank you, Osis. And we need to take this opportunity. If you guys know people like this, we need to take the opportunity to open them up and expose them and encourage these Western Christian traditions, okay? Because these traditions are dying out. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Have you guys noticed this? When I go to stores now, I don't hear Christmas music. I hear occasional Christmas music. I hear it peppered in through the normal top 40 pop garbage propaganda music. But it used to be you go in and it's pure Christmas music from start to finish all day long. I know this because I worked in retail for like 4 years and I had to suffer through that. But now it's kind of getting phased out to where it's no longer the war on Christmas, like, whoa, let's attack Christmas, get it out of here. It's just people are slowly forgetting about Christmas traditions, right? I think that's what's happening. We're in a stage of deterioration, the same way the Grand Canyon erodes slowly over time. If we don't maintain traditions like Christmas, then they will just go by the wayside. And this stuff is exactly what holds the West together. What's up, Phil? Welcome to the chat, man. So we need to take the opportunity whenever we can to expose and encourage people who aren't into this kind of stuff to get into it and tell them why it's important. Tell them that the culture, the traditions are the glue that holds a society together through time. Traditions are the conduit through which ideas and values transmit through time. If you don't have that, every new generation, like these nihilists that are all, the young kids these days, they don't believe in anything. They don't care about anything. They have no values. They have no traditions. They got nothing. So they're just generic, empty blobs of flesh and brain matter that get spawned out into the world, spin around for a little bit, make a TikTok or two, and then they die. They leave nothing behind. They build nothing. And that's not how you can maintain a society, okay? You have to have, again, like someone in chat says, Dari says, hyper-consumerism. Yeah, we have to have the counterbalance to consuming. These people go out, they buy a bunch of products, they participate in what they think is Christmas tradition, like, Applebee's 3-for-1 special Christmas. They think that's Christmas. They think that the Black Friday deal is a tradition, not the Thanksgiving that precedes the Black Friday, or proceeds the Black Friday. We need to get back to a system of building the traditions and maintaining them like a piece of art through time. It needs to be maintained. It needs to be meticulously taken care of. And we have to treat our traditions the same way, which is why I went out of my way to get a Christmas tree to signal to everybody that I follow Christmas traditions. And we were having a lot of good discussions in our Telegram chat about Christmas traditions. Everyone in here likes to bake, apparently. I mean, Holly was late to the stream because she was making some Christmas treats, I'm sure. My family makes a bunch of Christmas treats. We send out Christmas cards. We do the trees. We do all the stuff. We go look at Christmas lights. This is the kind of stuff that we need to be encouraging and building. So here's my thing. If Delaney was here, I would tell her, because she doesn't celebrate Christmas. She was a Jehovah's Witness or whatever. Apparently they don't believe in Christmas or whatever. I'm pretty sure. But I would tell her, if she wants to start a family and have these conservative Christian values and maintain the systems of the West that got her to where she is today, she needs to actively, and you and my friends and all the people who aren't actively already in this kind of stuff, you need to actively take the effort to go out of your way to get into these traditions, to start new traditions and build on the traditions that were there that maybe your family didn't follow. Start new ones. and do these throughout your life and hand them down to your kids or your family, your friends. That's the lesson that I've got for you on this Christmas. You have to preserve these traditions, and that's why they call them conservatives, right? They want to conserve all this stuff. Well, no, they're not really conserving anymore. Even the conservatives aren't. MA says, I thought Jeremy didn't spend time trying to convince people of things. Well, I'm just saying, if you care about this, the old society, if you want to keep living in it, that's what you got to do. Because I'll tell you what, in the society that I'm going to be building, we're going to have Christmas trees. We're going to be doing new stuff. We're going to be having all kinds of new holiday traditions that I wasn't doing previously. I'm going to expand my repertoire of traditions. We should be doing one new tradition every year, not doing the same traditions every year. Think about it that way. Instead of just doing the same traditions, if you already do traditions, add a new one. Make something new every year. Just do one new thing. It doesn't have to be big, just small. Erg Splitting Loudon Boomer says they don't celebrate birthdays either. They only believe in Jehovah God. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. If you're, and you've got a lot of work to do. If you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness, for example, then you've got a lot of work to do to build, or not even just Jehovah's Witness, atheists. There's a lot of those out there, right? A lot of kids grew up watching Richard Dawkins, things like that. They hate Christmas. A lot of kids right now are, I just saw a TikTok or video of some of that on Twitter of this girl pulling down the Trump flag that her family was flying in their front yard and replacing it with the LGBT flag. So that girl, in like 20 years, once she realizes how much she screwed up in her childhood, she's going to have to build new traditions and take on new ones to have a successful, thriving family life in the future. Rocket line dancers at Jeremy's Vegas style. Maybe not that. Simple Jack says, I agree wholeheartedly. Merry Christmas, Jeremy, everyone. Thank you, Jack, for that. Merry Christmas indeed. MA says, I worked extra hard to spread Christmas cheer this year, even gave cookies to the neighbors. Nice. There you go. Perfect. MA is living the perfect example. Dari says, I was lucky enough to grow up in these types of traditions. Can you imagine? It's hard for me to imagine not having these Christmas traditions. You know what I mean? But I think about, these kids, a lot of them, they didn't have parents that were together. They didn't have stable family households. So you can see why when you take away the family, you destroy the family, that has cascading effects up the social ladder. You don't have traditions anymore because you don't have a family to have traditions. You go to your parents, your moms, your dads, or whatever, and your mom's doing one thing, your dad's doing the other, and you don't have a cohesive childhood. Every year for me, it was, I get up early, I'm at the tree, I'm waiting for presents. We did, the whole gamut of stuff. Maybe Osis, yeah, maybe. No, she might be doing stuff with her family right now. Very passionate about Christmas traditions. Yes, well, it's going away. And I'm not talking about an attack on Christmas. Again, all the stuff that we talk about, guys, can be explained and rationalized without any malicious actor. This is just the general state of societies and any high-functioning civilization experiences these types of decays. So I'm not saying that Christmas is under attack. I'm just saying simply the fact that over time, if we're not maintaining and building and creating new traditions, they will fall by the wayside until we are all one giant gray putty blob puddle of just flesh matter wiggling around, consuming, and creating waste. All right, let's go to stereo. Artie.
Hey, to the host of the show.
That's me.
Yeah, it's real choppy, guy. I mean, I'm listening, though, but it's real choppy.
Yeah, I might be having some internet problems with stereo there. I haven't heard anything on the YouTube side. Let's go to Paul.
Tying the beginning and the end of this stream into a neat little bow, perfect for Christmas. That COVID Karen, she is the perfect avatar for the rapidity and I don't know how to make cancer a verb. The cancerousness, there's a better word for that, of how quickly the void left by Christianity's cultural hegemony, that word, in America, how quickly that was filled by neoliberal globalist not centrism, but secularism, sorry. How quickly it was filled in by that, and you see how quickly absolute garbage is put in its place. Not anything
Yeah.
good, just completely random and capricious and terrible.
Absolutely devoid of any real meaning or value or anything like that. Yeah, that's a great point. Now, keep in mind also, I made that whole explanation and my whole point without mentioning, Jesus or God or anything once. Now, there be some Christians out there it's like, whoa, hey, buddy, Christmas is about Jesus. Okay, well, you got to let the persuasion experts, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I try to be. You got to let the persuasion experts do the job for you. Because if you just come out and say, hey, old buddy, Christmas is about Jesus, they don't make Christmas about Jesus anymore. It's about buying products. That's not how we got to where we are, by people just saying secular things and advocating for secular things. It's a slow degradation, a slow persuasive effort from point A to point B. Now, I am being persuasive, ultimately, trying to get people back into, Christmas is about Jesus. But you can't just come out and say that. You have to slowly introduce them in, the same way they get slowly introduced out of Christianity over time. You have to slowly bring them back in, step by step. Step one is just getting them into the traditions, okay? You don't have to know why Christmas even exists. Just get into the traditions, and then slowly over time, you'll be exposed to small bits and pieces, like, oh, the Jesus, whatever, God is, blah, blah, blah. And that's how you persuade people back in. You don't just hit them with the hammer, Jesus, Christmas is Jesus. You have to persuade them in slowly and subtly, the same way that we have been persuaded out, okay? So just keep that in mind. Yes, Christmas is about Jesus. We all get that. But we have to be smart about how we're propagandizing it. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to get, the Christianity back into the Western civilization, for those of you who still care about Western civilization. But we have to be subtle and smart about it. That's the difference between me, an alt-centrist, and the rest of Conservative Inc. Because Conservative Inc., go on YouTube right now, I bet, the left doesn't want to talk about Jesus anymore. That's why Christmas is dead. Okay, you're not doing anything. That tweet is counterproductive, actually, because you're turning people off who would be interested in getting into these traditions. So you have to have intelligence about it. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to argue God is great to argue modernity is rubbish. Also a great point. Yeah. I'm a Christian. You make your choices. TikTok is cancer. TikTok is cancer. Let's see here. Persuasive. Modernity is okay. Leftism is the problem. Well, leftism is just a symptom of hyperfeminization. Don't forget. Okay, leftism in and of itself is not a thing. Leftism wouldn't exist without the hyperfeminization of our population. You got to remember that. They won. Yeah, they did win. The sweet baby Jesus only, not the scraggly hooker washing older one. Feelings matter, share Christmas cheer. It's not always about winning arguments. Yes, exactly. So I think that's where I would like to end it today, on a message of not just yay Christmas, but this is how you can persuasively grow Christmas traditions. And reject all the modern Christian music. I think it's also a good lesson, because God, that stuff is awful. Christmas music. That's the one thing I wanted to say about Christmas. I finally have an acceptable excuse to have Christmas music stuck in my head all day. Because I don't know about you guys, I have Christmas music stuck in my head all throughout the year. I'm whistling Christmas songs. I'm thinking about them. And finally, I'm not an insane person for having Christmas music stuck in my head, because it's actually Christmas season, at least for another week or so. So stay apart, stay safe. Yeah, no, we're not doing that, Holly. You guys can do that up in Canada, but everyone else can get together. Why are we hyperfeminized though? Because of the vote, or that is a big question, MA. And you know what? We can we've talked about that quite a bit. We can answer that on another stream. Maybe New Year's stream. Should we do a New Year's stream? We got a week from now. Yeah, I think we'll do a New Year's stream. I'll let you guys know. Follow the Telegram in the description. You can get updates on that stuff. And I think in 2022, we're going to take a new direction with the channel. We might actually be making a new channel altogether, I think. So, this channel is really not growing anymore. It's time for a different strategy. I like doing the live streams, and part of the live streaming was being able to prove to myself that I could do a live stream every single week for over a year, which I did. We're at live stream 97. So, a lot of those weeks we did 2 live streams a week. It's time to advance and revise our own strategy for how we're getting these messages out. And we will be doing that in 2022. So 2022 focus for me is to decentralize as much as possible and amplify or revise our messaging tactics for how we're getting this new philosophy out into the world. So I hope you guys are having a great Merry Christmas. And I hope you have some time to think about how you're going to allocate your time and energy and resources in 2022. And I think that's probably the most important question. I'm not talking about goals. I'm talking about what do they call those stupid things that you do at the end of the year? I don't even do those. Obviously, I don't even know what they're called. But you need to at least budget your time and energy for the year. And I think on everyone's list, towards the top, should be decentralization. So hopefully you can, new channel, MA, because this one is completely shadow banned. But that's it, guys. That's all I got. I'm not going to stall any longer. Thanks for watching. We're live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. PST, right here on youtube.com/weekly narrative. Have a happy Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we'll see you for the New Year's stream. Yes, New Year's stream. That's right. All right, guys. Thanks. See ya.